Morning guys, bank holiday Monday motivation time for you. Couple of things really. Went to see Cirque du Soleil last night. It was amazing, the athletic prowess of these kids in a lot of respects. So I don't know if you've ever witnessed it, so just go onto YouTube and type in Cirque du Soleil and have a look at these kids really in terms of their athletic prowess. And their practice really, because what they were doing, these guys it was just practice. You could just see that they'd practiced, they'd worked at it, and they'd got really, really good. And it wasn't anything to do with luck or judgment or any of this. These kids had put in hours and hours and hours to be able to juggle, 8, 9, 10 balls at once, hold themselves up with one hand and all this sort of stuff, and they just practiced. And I've said it before, so I won't go on about it on this video particularly, but it's one of those concepts where someone was on the Facebook page this morning and said their son won a dancing competition, and one of the parents was like, oh well, the judges make it easy for them, but this kid had practiced his heart out. Well, that's life. It's a reward for the practice and the effort you put in. So you ever got suspicious about things, you're down like with the Marjorie Dawes down the old Liberal Club for your weekly weighing and cake fest, and it's kind of like, I haven't really earned this. It's always suspicious with weight loss. Same with this. When you practice, people are always going to go, oh well, it's luck, it's this, it's that. They're not going to acknowledge the fact that you've actually put the work in and got there. And sometimes that work can take months, weeks. It can take as long as it takes. It's not over in a couple of days. It's not quick, but certainly the practice pays off. And when you're watching these incredible athletes do what they did, it's fantastic. It's really, really good. So that's the first thing to note. So if you do get a chance to ever go and see that show, go and see it, because the talent, the actual athletic talent and the practice of these individuals was fantastic. But when you watch things like that, my advice will always be the same: look at it and go, they practiced. They're not magicians. They're not. It's not magic. They've worked hard and they've practiced at that. The second point I want to make today is about mental simulation. Now, this is something that I've learned recently reading some books on coaching. Funny actually, when I was trying to type it out, I was trying to not type the word stimulation. So yes, mental simulation. And mental simulation, what mental simulation is it's an interesting concept, because we're very much taught, particularly when you're a positive thinker, that visualising where you're going is a good idea. Now, I agree. I think you need to know where you're going. You need to have an idea of where you're going. In other words, you just won't get there. I mean, most people don't really set goals. They just sort of piss in the wind and hope for the best. And some people get away with it, some people don't. But the concept of mental simulation is quite interesting, because what mental simulation is instead of looking forwards, look back, which is an interesting one, because we're sort of taught, well, especially in positive circles, is not to look at the past and it's gone and all this. Well, what's more easy to remember than the past? So for example, and this is an absolute beauty when it comes to weight loss, most people look at this vision of the future. So say for example you're overweight and you want to, say for example you're an overweight female and you've got this vision of you running down the beach in a bikini, that type of thing, will fit into a size 8 or whatever it might be. Now, if you're currently a size 14, now that's a long way away. So that's a long way away. So when you're looking at that as a goal, you could be saying, oh God, I wanted to be a size 14, but it's, this far in the future and I'm never going to do it, blah, blah. Because what you're doing is you're looking at somewhere you haven't been or haven't been for a while. But with simulating the past, what you can do is actually say, well, actually, I've been somewhere. So, classic example would be, people like to continue to eat the foods that made them fat in the hope that that will make them thin. For example, sugar and flour. So, for example, if eating a lot of sugar and flour has made you fat, what makes you think that continuing to eat it's going to make you thin? And that's the point. So, instead of all the time looking at the future and visualising the future and a compelling goal, sometimes say, actually, what got me here in the first place? So what were the behaviours that led to me becoming overweight and then going to the opposite? So if I know that doing because like when I've lost weight recently, I mean I've got myself down to a good weight, a good weight I've had in a couple of years. I just said, well, hang on a minute, when was I in the best shape of my life? It was 2009. What was I doing? Well, I was doing these habits, like eating a lot of mackerel, eating a lot of avocado. So I just went back to doing that, and guess what? Voila, boom, results happened again. So potentially, it's easier to do than to simulate the past than to visualise the future. And that's going back to this point about weighing yourself every day. Now, as I said, some fitness, unfortunately not very good fitness professionals, will say, oh, it's neurotic and all this. Well, what they're doing is they're talking on a broad sense. They're doing what makes them fail, which is talking about everyone rather than saying the person in front of them. So when people say, oh, it's bad for you, it corrects, it's emotional, blah, 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 well, it can do, but not for everybody, as long as the right coaching is done, because obviously, unfortunately, a lot of fitness professionals don't know how to coach people effectively. They just think it's about beasting and that crap and giving them diet plans that are available on the internet for free. It's not about any of that. It's about coaching people effectively to say, well, actually, if you weigh yourself every day, you get on the scales, you've put weight on a particular day, it's easy to simulate the day before and go, right, what did I do? And then try and fix it quickly. So what you're doing is you're identifying problems quickly, because obviously if you put on £2 in a day and if there's no other factors involved in including menstrual cycle, that type of thing, if you're a female, then you can go, well, actually it might have been that. So then you can adjust it and then check it again and then do something else and do something else and do something else until you see a pattern, and it allows you to do it quickly. Again, it's not going to work for everybody. Some people are that emotionally attached to the number that weighing themselves every day isn't going to help them, particularly those sort of people who don't do anything about it and then moan that it's like standing outside in the rain and complaining you're getting wet. Well, if you're not doing anything about it, then weighing yourself every day is pretty pointless. But if you're doing it as a logical experimental sense, then it can work. So simulation. So the key point for today, guys, is this: simulation. I talked about it last Wednesday in my weight loss group. Again, I'll put a link in the bottom if you want to pop along and see what we do. But simulation, so think about where you've been in the past, and if you're overweight particularly, what made you overweight in the first place, and then do the opposite of those issues and see how you get on. And then if you want to weigh yourself every day to track your progress, again, from a logical standpoint, great. If it gets too emotionally attached, blah blah, don't do it. So there you go. So have a great week. Summer's coming. Again, you Birmingham guys, if you're not currently working with us, I'll put some links down below. Again, getting some amazing results. It's gaining momentum. Would love to help you out. Would love to get you share some of the results that we're getting. So yeah, please feel free to get in touch. If not, have a great week, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.